Also in the arts portfolio, I draw to the attention of the House some issues in relation to a topic called supplementation. It's in relation particularly to the support for non-government organisations who are supported by government with regular grants. Those grants get indexed to a point, but indeed last year's mid-year budget review, it was highlighted, of course, inflation's been dramatic, so the government increased the indexation with supplementation for a range of organisations delivering frontline services in recognition of their increased costs. However, as came out during this session of estimates, there are a number of environmental organisations and a number of arts organisations that have been considered by this government as unworthy of attracting that supplementation. We recognise that in the social services sector there are a great number of organisations that are experiencing those dramatically increased costs, and so certainly we're supportive of the supplementation that's gone to certain organisations. But for the government to pick and choose then which organisations get it and which don't, in a way that is not consistent, as I understand it, with the application of the original Treasury instruction, the application of the original funding, is most unusual. And in relation to arts organisations, it's particularly keenly sought by a number of those organisations. And so I asked the Minister about this, and it was certainly, you'd think from the Minister's answers that she was in regular dialogue with the Treasurer, regular discussion with the Treasurer and Treasury officials about getting this decision overturned, and including those arts organisations. There's about 40 arts organisations in question that deliver a service for the South Australian people supported by government funding, the successive governments having determined that it is in our well-being, our education, our cultural well-being, supporting our young people, and a whole range of other reasons why we support these arts organisations. The government funds them. They've got increased costs, like everyone else, and the service that they deliver is reduced at a time of cost of living crisis when they don't get support from the government equivalent to what it's meant to be. Effectively, what you're seeing, if the supplementation isn't given to these groups, is that it is a cut to their funding. So, as I understand it, there's about 6 organisations that have been given that supplementation funding and 30-odd that have not. The Minister said that she's seeking some flexibility and working through with Treasury as being able to expand that across those very worthy arts organisations. I asked, can the Minister advise when she expects to have an outcome from her negotiations with the Treasurer on that matter? And the Minister said, I cannot answer that, of course, it's a decision for the Treasurer. Hoping quickly, I cannot answer that definitively. I put on the record I continue to wish the Minister good luck in those negotiations, but I regret to advise that a Freedom of Information application to the Office of the Treasurer found an application seeking access to all briefings, advice, memos and/or correspondence relating to the inclusion of arts organisations in the list of NGOs supported with funding for indexation supplementation, in particular any information relating to which organisations were included in the program or not, and any related advice, and any correspondence or memos or minutes of meetings between Minister Michaels and the Treasurer in relation to indexation supplementation for NGOs, returned, and I quote from the FI officer, pursuant to section 23(1)(b) of the Act, I advise that following an extensive search conducted within this office, no documents relevant to your request were located. No documents, no meetings, no minutes of meetings, no diary entries presumably, no correspondence. It does not seem that this government takes these arts organisations seriously at all, and for all of the honeyed words of the Arts Minister in seeking to reassure the arts sector that she's on their side and seeking the Treasurer's forbearance and the Treasurer to overturn his decision, I think in this case the Treasurer is carrying the can, being given the can to carry for a whole government that has no interest in supporting these arts organisations. I think those arts organisations and their spokespeople see through that hypocrisy, and I think that they will continue to lobby and advocate their cause articulately, passionately, and frankly they deserve better than just being taken for granted. Their costs have gone up. What they offer to our community in terms of helping our young people in their creativity, in terms of helping our community stay in touch with culture, to experience art and what it can offer us through performing arts and visual arts, music and dance and everything else. these organisations are really, really struggling at the moment, and the government is doing nothing to help.